Heading back to the early 80s, folks, and see if we can stop a terrorist. Let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well out there. And we're heading back to 81, folks, and deal with some international terrorism. But before we do that, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Join me here, great, would appreciate that. Today we're going to talk about 1981's Nighthawks, starring Sylvester Stallone and Billy D. Williams and Rutger Hauer. Let's get into this. This dropped on April 10th of 1981. It's rated R. It's an hour and 40 minutes long, although it was a much longer cut initially. We'll talk about that later. Had a budget of $5 million, and upon release, it made 14.9 in America and about 20 worldwide. So it made a little bit of money, but it was not the huge success they were hoping, especially with Stallone being the star of the movie coming off of Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. Bruce Malmuth directed this film, and he would go on to direct a movie with Steven Seagal called Hard to Kill, which I actually like that film, although Steven Seagal is not the greatest actor. We all know that. But he went on to direct that film as well in 1990. In this film, we got Sylvester Stallone as De Silva, Billy D. Williams as his partner Fox, and they are two tough street cops. We got Rutger Hauer playing Wolfgar. He is an international terrorist that comes to America in New York City during the film to cause chaos and kill people. Lindsay Wagner plays Irene. She is the ex-girlfriend of De Silva, although he's still very much in love with her and wants to get her back. And Joe Spinell plays Lieutenant Menudo, and he was in Rocky, he was in Maniac, and so him and Stallone had already had a relationship because he was in the first Rocky movie. And basically, the gist of this film is De Silva and Fox are two street tough cops that are taking down muggers and drug dealers. And we were introduced to them early in the film. Then we're introduced to Wolfgar, who's in England and blows up a department store. And Rutger Hauer, this is his first American film. Just to get this out of the way up front, Rutger Hauer is awesome in this film. He's this very cold-blooded, calculated, although very smart terrorist. He even says during the film he's going to kill somebody because he wants to. He doesn't have to, he just wants to. And just that introduction to him when he goes into the department store, he makes like nice pleasantries with this woman behind the counter, although he comes off as kind of creepy. And you see him kick his bag underneath the counter and he walks out to a phone booth and the whole place explodes. That's what kind of cold and calculated killer he really is, and he's fabulous in this film. You can definitely see how he went on to do Ridley Scott's Blade Runner and then definitely The Hitcher later on in the 80s. And anyway, through them trying to pursue Interpol, trying to pursue him in England, he almost gets caught. He kills a bunch of agents and he flees to America to wreak havoc in New York City. And this is where Fox and De Silva get dragged into this, because this is not what they do, but they get told by Joe Spinell's character, the lieutenant, that they're being reassigned to this terrorist task force, which they complain about, but they go begrudgingly. And this Englishman comes over, gives them the down low on Wolfgar and what he stands for, and just the terror that he's going to rain upon people. Some Wolfgar's signs of what he likes to do and what he definitely, you can't go by the police book on trying to catch him. That doesn't work. But pretty soon, De Silva and Fox track him down at this nightclub, because that's one of the pieces of information they get. He likes to go out to nightclubs. And they certainly do that. And we have an incident in a nightclub that ends up in this great chase scene through the subway system that was actually directed by Stallone, by the way. We'll talk about that in a minute. And basically, Wolfgar has this plan that he wants to execute, and De Silva's trying to stop him. And he takes hostage of this tram car that goes up on this cable. And De Silva is basically in his sights at this point because he's pissed Wolfgar off and he wants to kill De Silva, but he's going to use him first. And basically at the end, De Silva and Fox stop his plan, and he makes it a point to go back to Irene's apartment, and De Silva's in on this to kill her, to really punish De Silva. Wolfgar breaks into the house thinking Irene's at the sink washing dishes, and he slowly, methodically makes his way through the apartment behind her, and he has a gun in his hand, going to shoot her. And De Silva turns around, it's him in a wig and with a robe on, and he shoots Wolfgar dead. And that is the end of Nighthawks. They do set that up in the beginning on one of De Silva's first busts, where he's dressed like a woman to bait these muggers into coming out, with Fox watching nearby. And that's the end of Nighthawks, pretty much. What to like about this film? Well, the performances overall. Stallone and Billy D. Williams on their end are fantastic. And the Stallone has never been so intense and except for this film and probably the first Rambo film. I mean, him and Billy D. Williams are bringing the intensity to their roles. They love their jobs. You can see that throughout the film, that they absolutely love doing what they're doing, and they're no-nonsense cops, and they're ex-military, and they have each other's backs through thick and thin. And I love that about them, and I love their performances. Billy D. Williams and Sylvester Stallone really do play well off of each other. Then there's Rutger Hauer. Rutger Hauer is fantastic as this terrorist, Wolfgar. Just a cold, calculated, smart, ruthless killer. And he's doing it for a cause, he even says. He makes money on doing this for a cause, but you can tell that he enjoys it. He is definitely a psychopath, although one that's very intelligent. And to see the game, like the chess pieces between De Silva and Wolfgar especially through the second half of the film, are wonderful. And getting that chase scene through the subway, fantastically executed and shot. Very exciting stuff. Stallone did all of his stunts in this film. Getting a little trivia before I give my rating. Stallone did all of his stunts. Now, there was an original director to this film, a guy named Gary Nelson. He only lasted about a week and he got fired. And he hired Bruce Malmuth to come in. And on his way across America to get to New York to shoot the film, he had a little trouble getting there in time. So Stallone actually directed the chase scene throughout the subway. But also there's rumors, along with a lot of Stallone films, and this is rumors, so I'm not saying this is fact, but there's rumors that actually Stallone directed this film, like he did on other films like Cobra, Rambo 2, First Blood Part 2. Stallone's been known for that over the years, where they have a director, but Stallone's really setting up the shots and directing the film. I don't know if that's true on this film, but that's what has been said. And even the actress Lindsay Wagner has said that Stallone did a lot of work on that film that people don't know about. Originally, the script for this film was supposed to be The French Connection 3, set up at 20th Century Fox. But Gene Hackman didn't want to do a third French Connection film, so the script and the story idea was sold to Universal. They reworked it into Nighthawks. And it actually works out great because this film is fantastic. I love this film. The action when it happens is great. There's not a ton of action, but when it happens, it's well shot. It's definitely intense. The whole film is definitely very filled with intensity, and that comes from the performances and the way it's shot. And the score is a little weird in parts, but overall this film works very, very effectively. And it's kind of ahead of its time with the international terrorist angle, especially considering in America at the time. But this definitely feels like a 70s movie. The grit and grime of New York City is all here. And they captured that beautifully. It feels like a 70s crime film set in New York, like Death Wish or The French Connection. And you definitely get that feeling here in this film. The original cut of this movie was 2.5 hours. And the studio, they actually cut out a lot of violence. That last shootout with Wolfgar in the apartment was much bloodier. Like, Stallone, when he shoots Wolfgar, it's much more bloody in the original cut. They had to cut it down to get the R rating. And they cut the movie down, period. Universal wanted a shorter film. So they cut it down to 1 hour and 40 minutes long, which I'd like to see the original cut. Supposedly, Stallone has been said in interviews that he would like to go back and recut this film and put a lot of the stuff that was cut out back into it. I would be up for that. I don't know if it ever happened, but that would be cool if it did happen. Again, Stallone did all of his own stunts in this film. This is just a really well-done, straight-laced, hard-charging action thriller, and with some great performances. And if you've never seen it, seek it out. There's a Blu-ray for sale from Scream Factory that they put out. It has a really nice transfer on it, by the way. This is actually the first time I've ever seen this film. I thought I saw Stallone's films, and I thought I'd seen this film until I sat down and watched it, and I realized I've never seen this film. And it is fantastic. Matter of fact, so fantastic that I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Yes, a 9.5 out of 10 for Nighthawks. If you've ever seen this film, leave a comment down below. Let me know. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. Share this video. I would appreciate that. I'll be back soon with some more reviews, but until next time, bye.